Pro wrestling is an art form that has been around since it started as a circus act in the 1930s. From that point, pro wrestling has grown to create some of the biggest stars in the world. This ranges from guys such as The Rock and John Cena to more international talent such as Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Pro wrestling is an art form that is meant to tell a story through what is happening inside of the ring. Although wrestling is typically viewed as quote-unquote fake because of the coordination between the two wrestlers in the ring, wrestlers' bodies go through enormous amounts of stress and trauma. This happens mostly due to something very small going wrong in the match, which can result in broken noses, torn ACLs, and much worse. So why do wrestlers choose to put their bodies through so much, and why do they continue to wrestle after they have been injured in the past? Today, we will look at a subculture of pro wrestling, an independent backyard wrestling organization called the BWO. The BWO, or the Backyard Wrestling Organization, is an organization of multiple wrestlers, announcers, and commentators who put on shows for their YouTube channel and even live crowds sometimes. You will hear from 4 wrestlers in the BWO about why they choose to wrestle despite the dangers behind it. This is why the BWO story.
The Prince is there. That was incredible, actually.
My name is Santiago, aka the Puerto Rican Prince. I've been wrestling for almost 3 years now. I'm the current BWO champion, and I have wrestled in 3 separate companies, including the BWO. I really got into pro wrestling when I was about 5 years old. It actually happened when my dad told me that we were going to a Yankee game. So I had my Derek Jeter jersey on, and I had my Yankee hat on, and he said we were going to a game. So we get to Webster Bank Arena, and I quickly realized that we are not going to a Yankee game. So he makes me sit in the stands, and I fell in love with it. It was an episode of Monday Night Raw, and it was actually the episode Edge retired. And to see the emotional connection that people built between themselves and Edge, who was retiring in the ring, was what really got me into pro wrestling. So, in the BWO, I have a long-ish history of injuries.
Angels, no handcuffs. No, God!
I've been put through tables.
Oh my God!
I've not been put through tables. I've been hit with kendo sticks. I've been slammed on Legos.
That's it!
I cut my back up pretty good on a sofa chair. I was hit with a 3-inch belt buckle. I was about this big. And I almost punctured my kidney jumping off of the deck through a table that did not break.
Oh, in the corner of the table!
And I almost got a concussion from taking a DDT off of a ladder.
Oh my God, is he gonna? Oh, DDT!
People ask me all the time, why do I continue to wrestle if I've had all of these injuries happen to me? And the honest answer I could give is just, it's part of the game. Being able to go out there and perform is such a privilege and an honor, but, the injuries come with it. And I thank God that I've never had, something too serious. I've had a few scares in my life and a lot of cuts and a lot of bruises, but that's part of the game. And, I accept it, and I know the other guys accept it, and we love wrestling enough where the good outweighs the bad. And I love this so much. And, the injuries come with it, but they come and they go. But the memories that I've built in the BWO will be forever for me. So that's the reason why I still wrestle despite the injuries.
Oh my God! Oh my God! That camera's for. Oh! The Prince. Oh!
My name is Lucas Greifsu. A lot of people also know me as the Universe from the BWO. I've been wrestling for about 2.5 years. We started in May of 2018 or June 2018, whatever. Some of my accomplishments would be I am a 2-time BWO champion, a 3-time BWO New England champion, 1-time tag team champion, and a couple other mixed in there somewhere. I've also won the BWO Summer Invitational and the BWO Backyard Cup. That one was more recent. Please go check those out on the YouTube. I'm also currently the BWO New England champion, as you can see behind me. What got me started in wrestling is really just a love for the sport of wrestling. I've watched wrestling since I was a kid, and I've really always wanted to just be able to do it myself, and the BWO has given me a good outlet to do that in, and I'm really happy about that. In terms of crazy spots, there really have just been like too many to keep track of. I've been put through tables, doors, hit with chairs, hit with kendo sticks. I've had chairs physically thrown at me. People have jumped off of things onto me. I've jumped off of things onto people and through tables and doors and etc. In terms of injuries though, I've had my arms and legs cut open a few times. I had my face busted open once. That wasn't particularly fun. And in terms of like lasting things, I've had like a reoccurring hip injury for the past 6 months because of like a bad landing from a table spot.
Part of High School Musical where he bops to the top and then bops right back down. Oh! It turns out the Prince is the one that knocks. Door joke! Door joke!
I still do wrestling and still partake in the BWO because of the love that I have for the sport. You can't let minor setbacks get in the way of what it is that you want to do in life, and I'll draw a good example to this. You don't see often, I should say, you don't see a lot of football or professional football and basketball players dropping out because of minor injuries that they have here and there. They just come over these injuries, they get better, and they come back to the sport that they enjoy playing, and I'm the same way about that with wrestling.
I am Noah Golden. I'm one of the co-founders of the BWO, and I've been wrestling since the beginning. I've been wrestling since the beginning, and making the BWO was one of my biggest accomplishments of my life. It's something that like I take great pride in, because it's such a huge thing to be able to do something with your friends that you can actually build success off of. I've been interested in wrestling my whole life. Basically, the first thing that got me into it was back in like 2010 when I would watch like Rey Mysterio wrestling, and you know I would be in the family room or with my dad watching just Rey Mysterio go out there, and he was like big first person that helped me get into wrestling, and then years later I got back into it again, and from that point forward, I never stopped loving wrestling. The infamous bloody nose match, that was something that we called a dream match, because me and Angel, from the start, we had our top 3 wrestlers. We had me, him, and Kevin. Those were our big 3. We knew that no matter what happened, if you have a combination of 2 of those 3, you're going to have a spectacular match. And eventually, at one point, there was a spot where Angel DDT'd me onto a crutch. That isn't what caused it. But then he went for a pin, and then Kevin went to break up the pin, but instead of hitting Angel, who was on top of me, he dolphin dived over Angel and then hit me square on my nose. And this was at my house. This was in my backyard, and I was just down on the ground. My nose was just gushing at that point. It was so bad. And like I was just outside the ring, and I was just like, I hope this stops so I can get back in this match, but it just kept going, and eventually Angel saw me and he was just like, ooh, yeah, no, we're gonna have to end this. So we ended it right there. His hair was like his hair was like bloodied up from because we had a spot that we were gonna do to finish up the match. There was blood all over the ring. It was a mess, but I bled mostly outside the ring. But yeah, the dream match wasn't so much of a dream match. Why do I still do it? I still do it because I love wrestling. It's something that I've loved since my childhood. There's a whole ton of different reasons. It's another thing is to prove people who doubted me wrong. I was told my whole life that, because I said, like, even back, like, in 5th grade, I'm gonna be a professional wrestler someday. You know, that was me, my little kitty voice. I'm gonna be a professional wrestler someday. That was, basically what I was saying, and, I had people telling me all the time, wrestling's fake, you're not gonna make it, you need to be an actor first, and I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna prove you wrong then, and, since then, that's something that's always been on my mind, and there's just something about wrestling that I just love so much. There's just so much creativity to it, and it really matches like what I enjoy doing. And so that's why I want to be a professional, a really professional wrestler when I get out of high school, and then as I go on and make a career out of this, because it's something that I've loved and I've been into since my very young childhood.
10.
Hi, I'm Brian Circle, and I'm a former member of the BWO. I probably wrestled about a year and a half, and I know I've gotten several belts over the years. If you asked me to name them all, I couldn't, but I know I've gotten the tag team one, that one I'm sure of. And I'd say probably one of my other biggest accomplishments is not dying. I started wrestling because, in addition to Angel telling me everything about it and asking me to join for at least 3 months, I was kind of interested in it, and I figured, hey, I'll just give it a shot, because I had nothing better going on. The stitches incident. So yeah, I had never done a knee strike before, but Angel had been hitting me with them all match, so I wanted to try one on him. Never done it before, though. So when I ran, I hit him with my knee, but I ended up jumping a little too high, and I hit this part of my head right here on a little drop down part of the ceiling.
Section. So I hear you like knee strikes. Oh!
So I knew I'd cut my head, and I didn't feel too great, but I didn't feel awful. So I was fine with continuing the match, and I did such. It wasn't until Angel told me end the match that I even realized that it was that big of an issue. And after that, I was reluctant to end the match, and I didn't really want to, but I went, okay. So after the match, everyone immediately rushed me. We had a whole, bit planned for after my match that Noah was going to come in. That didn't happen. But after the match, everyone ran to me, went, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I feel fine. But they're like, look at your head. And eventually someone took a picture of it, and it was like a deep cut. And I'm like, okay, I'll just go home, I'll keep band-aids on it, whatever. I get home, it's still kind of bleeding. So I told my mom, hey, can we go to the emergency room to get this checked out? Turns out I need to get 6 stitches in my forehead because of that move. Not my best experience, not my best moment, but hey. I still did the BWO after that incident, because I had fun with it. It was fun hanging out with a bunch of friends, doing something unique, doing something kind of stupid, but it was just fun. It was fun to be with people, doing what everyone seemed to have a passion for. And it was just a good group of guys to be hanging out with, so that's pretty much why I kept doing it.
You have heard 4 different wrestlers from the BWO talk about their stories and the experiences that they have had in the industry of professional wrestling. You have heard about the toll that wrestling takes on the body. You have heard about how wrestling has brought all of these guys together, and you have heard about why these 4 guys continue to wrestle despite the injuries that they have received during their wrestling careers. The BWO might be a subculture of professional wrestling, but their stories are the same as those of the wrestling legends. Thank you for watching, and this has been Why, the BWO Story.